Welcome to our Explainer, where we distill the biggest global stories of the week. Let's try and make some sense of the past few days, because honestly, the headlines felt like they were coming from two different planets. On one hand, you've got markets hitting all-time highs, and on the other, this constant, low drumbeat of new global tensions.
The Financial Times really captured the mood perfectly with this one. It's this strange mix of euphoria and straight-up fear. We're seeing these incredible gains, but at the same time, there's this nagging feeling in the back of your mind. Like, how long can this possibly last?
So what's really going on here? Well, it turns out these aren't separate stories at all. To get the full picture, you actually have to connect three huge things: a geopolitical shock, an economic paradox that's pretty baffling, and a technological revolution that's changing absolutely everything. Okay, let's dive in.
The week's biggest jolt, without a doubt, came from a single decisive action out of Washington, a new set of sweeping U.S. sanctions.
So the stated goal was to cut off funding for the war in Ukraine by targeting Russia's economic lifeline, its energy sector. By going after Rosneft and Lukoil, the two largest state-run producers, the U.S. wasn't just slapping on some sanctions, it was making a huge move to take two giants of the global oil market off the board for many buyers.
And the market's reaction? Whoa, it was immediate and it was sharp. We're talking a 6.2% spike in crude oil in a single day. That's a massive jump, the biggest since that whole flare-up back in June. It just goes to show how sensitive energy prices are to this kind of geopolitical risk.
And listen, this wasn't just a US-Russia issue. It immediately forced major global powers to reassess their strategies. You had India's and China's huge refineries suddenly wondering if they should halt their purchases. Meanwhile, Germany's trying to get a sanctions waiver just to protect its own energy security. This is geopolitics playing out in real time.
Now, of course, these sanctions don't happen in a vacuum. They're part of America's much wider strategic positioning with its two main rivals, Russia and China.
And this right here perfectly illustrates the central tension in the world's most important relationship. You've got this simultaneous push for dialogue, the planned meeting between the two presidents to de-escalate things, and at the exact same time, a preparation for long-term conflict, with China gearing up for a tech confrontation and pushing for self-sufficiency.
And Beijing is making its strategy crystal clear. This official statement says it all. Their goal is to insulate the country from any external pressure by focusing on domestic demand and technological independence. It's like they're trying to build a giant economic force field.
Okay, let's move on to the US economy, because this is where the story gets really, really interesting, with some deep contradictions. On one hand, you've got an incredible boom. We're talking about an added $5 trillion in wealth to U.S. households, spurred almost entirely by an AI-driven surge in the stock market that just defied all those recession forecasts.
But, on the other hand, you have top investors like Blackstone, basically sounding the alarm. They're signaling that the era of easy money is over, and that raises some serious concerns about just how fragile this boom really is.
So here's the crucial point. We have this powerful engine of growth, this AI boom, that's also creating a lot of inequality and a pervasive feeling that the whole thing could just be a bubble. The numbers look good, the IMF is upgrading forecasts, but there's a real sense of fragility. And that brings us right to the technology at the heart of it all: artificial intelligence. It's acting as both a catalyst and a major disruptor.
First, let's just look at its physical impact, because the AI boom isn't just happening online. It's creating a massive new demand for energy. All these data centers need incredible amounts of electricity, and that is linking the tech sector directly to commodity markets through a new rush for natural gas.
And you see this same duality playing out across society. AI is driving efficiency and creating wealth, no doubt. But it's also raising these profound questions about the future of work, about education, and even about our safety online. It's a real game changer, for better and for worse. So what's the big picture here? What does it all mean when you put these pieces together?
The key takeaway this week is the rise of what analysts are calling integrated risk. The old way of looking at politics, economics, and technology in their own separate boxes, that's just obsolete. They're all deeply intertwined now, and they all influence each other.
I mean, think about it. We saw this week how a single political decision can roil energy markets. We saw how a technological race can fuel an entire economy. And then we saw how that economy's growth can create brand new risks. Everything is connected.
And this new reality forces us to think differently, to ask not just what happened, but how does it all fit together? Which leaves us with a final thought to consider.